adjusting the truss rod. I know everybody's
For sure.
dying to know that. I get hundreds of questions even outside of
Right.
so,
Yeah.
how to know when it needs to get adjusted, what is it adjusting exactly, how to measure it. Yeah, a whole lot of stuff. So I'm going to clear this off real quick just so I
Cool.
can show everybody.
And if you
And
guys
then
have any other things, just go ahead and pop them in there.
I'm going to need
What's that? What?
I'm going to need
Grab
one of your guitars if you
Do
don't
you have a
mind.
preference?
Um,
Where do you want? What kind of truss rod do you want? At the headstock or at like the?
yeah, let's do
bottom?
one at the headstock because the camera's right here. I forgot to show one thing, but we'll do it after this.
Okay.
Something important. Perfect. All right,
There we go.
truss rod. Right, that worked out really nicely for everybody. Truss rod, the magical rod that everybody's afraid to adjust because they think it'll break their guitar, but I promise you it will not break your guitar. And it's actually very easy to adjust once you get the basics of it.
So real quick, because
Oh, yeah.
one question that came in actually it was from Adam who's watching.
What's up, Adam?
He was at, like, so before you say what to do, how do you know when to do it?
Okay, yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's start with that. So the truss rod is in charge of the action from up here in your first fret to maybe like a little bit before the 12th fret. So one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to start buzzing like crazy up here, like up towards the headstock. It'll be like a pretty bad, but you'll know it. It's a pretty bad buzz. It's a very distinct sound. Sometimes you won't even get notes. It's so out of shape.
Yeah,
What's
that-
happening there is the neck is actually making a frowny face. This is called a back bow. So the neck's falling back, and you're getting this bow right here. So it's messing up your action right here. That sucks. That's the worst one. The other thing that's going to happen is the exact opposite. It's going to be the action's going to be really high right here. You're going to feel like you're jumping the hurdles, even though everywhere else is set up properly. It's going to feel very hard to do bar chords and things like that. It's a feel thing. You'll start to know it after a while. On my guitars, I can actually feel it when it's starting to happen. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm gonna have to adjust this. It's usually gonna happen right around when winter hits, and then when spring comes back around. That's when the humidity changes and all that stuff. It's perfectly normal. So don't freak out if your guitar is doing that. Even the most expensive guitars I've worked on do that. It's wood. It reacts to humidity and temperature change. So don't freak out. It's an easy fix. Yeah. So that's how you'll know. It's going to feel weird from up here to about the 12th fret. So the way you can actually measure that, because I like measurements. You can. I don't know if we'll be able to see this. Probably not. You might
Point
see.
to that one.
What's up?
Point to that camera. Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, you might see people like looking down.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put their eye like right around here and then kind of look down. Oh yeah. So they'll kind of do this and kind of look down the neck. You're not going to be able to see it on camera, but what they're doing is called sighting the neck, and you can actually see the curvature of your neck. You're basically going to use the string as a straight edge, and you can see if it has too much smiley face or too much frowny face. You always want a little bit of smiley face for the guitar to sound the best it can. But I like an actual measurement. I'm a numbers guy, so I'm going to show you how to actually measure your neck. So this is where the capo comes in. You don't need a fancy one like this. You can just get the cheapo, $5 one or whatever. This one is a little bit pricier, but whatever. So you're going to clamp down right at the first fret like this. Let's see if you guys can see that.
The stupid overlay is blocking it.
That's okay. There you go. Kind of like that. Just right before the first fret. You're going to push down on that. And then you're going to push down the 17th fret. This is on the low E, by the way. We're measuring the low E. And then you're going to take your automotive feeler gauges. And I start with 10 thousandths of an inch. The throughout my years of doing this, I've just seemed to notice that 10,000 seems to be like the magic number. It'll say like, it'll read 0.10. That's 10,000ths of an inch. It's also funny on this one, it's actually gold. It's the only gold one in there, so I always know to look for the gold one. But I start with 10,000ths of an inch. That seems to be really good. So you're going to push down on the 17th fret, and then you're going to slide in on the 7th fret. I don't know if any... Oh, yeah, you should be able to see this. It should just barely go in there. That's what you're looking for. It should push a little tiny bit on the string. If you really have to like force it in there, then you have too much frowny face, too much of an up bow. So you're going to loosen the truss rod. So if you're, this camera angle is great for this. So if you're looking at the neck like this, you're going to turn the truss rod that way. So you're going to...
What's up, 1, 2, 3?
You're going to go this way to loosen. Just like that. If you can get it in there and there's a ton of wiggle room, you got too much smiley face. So it's going the opposite. It's going this way. And you're going to tighten the truss rod. So you're going to go this way. And that's the same for any guitar. Some guitars have their truss rod adjustment down here. It's the same thing. If you're looking at it, left is tightened, right is loosened. Had to think about that for a second. So it's the same thing down there. Totally lost my train of thought where I was going with that.
So, I was just gonna say it can look a little different than this one. Just the like, what do you call the one that's like on the
yeah, sometimes there's an actual nut that you can adjust.
like a ship wheel.
It's like a ship wheel, yeah. In which case you just take a smaller Allen wrench and you're gonna kind of go like that. Yeah, it's the same exact thing. But yeah, you want to get this guitar is perfect right now. There's a little itty bitty tiny resistance in there. That's what you want. You just want a little bit. Same thing on the high E, 17th fret. There should be a tiny little bit of resistance in there, which there is. So this guitar is perfect. I wouldn't need to adjust it. If trying to think of different scenarios. So certain.
That was for, so this is for like adjusting it when the action like down there. Do you do anything on the higher frets? Or like if you have issues with higher frets, that's not, you're saying that's not truss rod, right?
Yeah. So anything past the 12th fret, that's going to be your bridge action down here. That's going to handle that. So you can have it set up perfectly down here, and it'll be higher down here.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to want to adjust these. So we can get into that. I'll show you guys how to measure that because that actually plays in with this tool that I forgot to talk about. So so yeah, so I start with 10,000ths of an inch. That's just the starting point. Again, I've just noticed over the years that just seems to be a magic number. If you're a very heavy strummer on an acoustic guitar with very thick strings playing like bluegrass and stuff, you might want to go for a little bit more space in there. So maybe like 11,000ths, 12,000ths of an inch even.
So similarly, there's a bunch of people I know that'll be watching that are into extended range.
Yes.
Real low tuned kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing with the bigger strings.
Same thing, yeah. If you, with the lower tuning stuff, you're not going to be able to get it as low as you want it, unfortunately.
Very true.
I always, I've had people upset with me when I tell them that, but thick strings in a low tuning, metal on metal like this, you're going to get a ton of fret buzz, I promise you. It does suck, but you can get it dialed in still pretty comfortably. And if it's a guitar like this where you can adjust each string individually, you can just leave the lower strings higher, then put the other strings a little bit lower, so it kind of does like a curve thing. So that's a nice thing about that. Trying to think what else with truss rods. So one thing, when you are adjusting your truss rod, this is something nobody talks about, but it's super important. So
said you're right. You tell him that.
yeah, Brennan with his low, what are you in, low F, man, or something like that. My God, dude. It's some Meshuggah stuff. Um, so when you adjust your neck, it's actually going to take maybe a day, even 2 days to actually like settle. So what you want to do is get it pretty close, do like a quarter turn, measure it, maybe do like another quarter turn, measure it again. When you think it's about to be perfect, let it sit overnight. Because what you'll find is when you go to it the next day, it'll be perfect.
Thanks for the follow.
Thank you for the follow. Yeah, I've found that I've tried to do it in one shot, and then the next day it's like got too much backbow or whatever, and it just doesn't work. So then I'll have to go back and readjust it. So
Brendan says you haven't even played his bass. That's a whole octave lower.
Jesus, dude.
36 and a half inch scale.
Oh my God. Is there even notes at that point?
Whoa, just brown noise.
I bet it sounds really good in a mix, though.
Yeah, it looks pretty sharp too.
Yeah, you have to bring it over, man. I want to play it.
There you go.
Yeah, with bass guitars, they might need a little bit higher number on this, maybe like 11 thousandths of an inch, just because the strings are so big on those. But start with 10 thousandths of an inch, go from there.
And when you let it sit, you want it sitting in tune, right?
Yeah. So you're doing the neck in whatever tuning you're gonna tune to. If you change tunings, string gauges, whatever, always check the neck, because chances are when you do drop tunings like that and put bigger strings on, it'll usually need some adjusting. So
Yeah.
I mean, the whole guitar usually needs adjustment, but that specifically, yeah, especially those real thick strings, they're really pulling on the neck. So a lot of times the action will just be like jumping hurdles, man.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah,
Actually, I screwed myself over on a tour for doing that because I thought I had my guitar all set up, and
Mhm.
they were using a lower tuning than I was used to. And at the last minute, I upped the string gauge,
Yep,
and then, oops.
pulled a little too much. Yeah, it makes it very uncomfortable and it sucks. But yeah, it's a super easy adjustment. Don't be afraid to try it. You're not gonna break your guitar, I promise. I've heard people say that, like, "Oh, take it to a tech, take it to a tech." You're fine, I promise you.
He's talking to you, Adam.
I mean, you can take it
And
to a
then
tech.
others, but
If you're not comfortable with it, you can take it to a tech. But it's something you should know how to do. Just, I don't know where all of you live, but we're in Illinois, and the temperature change is just ridiculous here throughout the year. So I'm adjusting mine several times a year. It's super easy. You might see, I'm going to grab something real quick, so stand by.
is there such thing as too many?
Yeah, right.
It's just-
Some guitar companies, like Gibson, certain ESP models, they'll have. You can't use an Allen key. It's going to be like it's an actual like nut inside of there. You need a fancy tool like this. Your guitar should have came with this one. If not, contact your manufacturer and see if they can send you one, because your Allen keys will be useless in that situation. But it's the same principle, it just sticks in there, locks on the nut, and you just turn it. So, just something to be aware of. I think PRS guitars are like that too. And if you own a Taylor acoustic, if anybody does out there, nothing you own will ever work on it. You have to buy their specific truss rod adjustment tool, which I have. I can show you guys what that looks like.
What's the reasoning for that? They just want it's like taking it to the dealer kind of thing, or like where they want you to.
Taylor's one of those companies, they don't want you to work on your guitar. They want you to bring it to a tech for whatever reason. I don't agree with that. You can buy the tool, though, but just something to be aware of. Nothing you ever buy will work for it unless you get that specific tool.
Frustrating.
This goofy-looking tool right here, that's your Taylor adjustment. And on that, Fender P basses are like that too. You need this tool. So just something to be aware of if you own those. I don't know how many of you play acoustic or Fender basses out there. So I've had to get them over the years because I've done both Taylors and Fender basses. So learned that the obnoxious way that I had to get a specific tool. So
Yeah, right.
yeah.
You need it, and then you have to buy it.
And then
wait
you have
for
to
it.
buy it. So either way, yeah. Any questions on neck adjustments? I know that's kind of a lot. Just want to make sure you guys and gals understand that.
Well, one thing someone else brought up was like those some of the weird extended things that have like the 2 truss rods or like the carbon reinforcement kind of stuff. They just kind of were curious about an opinion on the carbon fiber reinforcements. I think Kiesel's the one that's doing that a lot.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
I don't really know much about them.
I honestly don't either. I'm sure it works great. I've set up Kiesels before, and it's the same procedure. I haven't noticed like a difference, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I hadn't either. I think I mean, I've played them. I just don't have any guitars. I've never seen the need to get a guitar with them. I would say.
Same, yeah. The dual truss shot thing, though, I don't see that often. It's
No.
mostly in like 5-string, 6-string basses. I've seen them in the older, like the first gen 8-string guitars that were coming out. You know.
Yeah, I don't remember who asked about that, but that might have been someone who was buddies with me back when I got the console.
Oh, yours has one, does it?
Well, mine doesn't, but some of their basses did for sure. 'Cause
Okay.
They were more known for the basses. than the
Yeah.
guitars.
So with those, it actually is a smart design, because all you're doing is one is for the bass side and one is for the treble side. That's all it is. So it's actually kind of nice to be able to adjust those simultaneously. Usually just the one truss rod works just fine.
Yeah, totally.
So
Unless you have some crazy instrument.
yeah, I mean, I set up it was an 8-string bass, but like 8 strings, like extended,
Yeah.
That thing was ridiculous. It was like 2 lower strings and like 2 higher ones or something
Sure.
like that. It was just so ridiculous, man. But that had the dual truss rod,
Okay.
which I needed in that case.
Yeah. Man.
I was like, how do you even play this thing? After a certain point, you should just play a harp.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get-
So this is kind of related. Maybe you can just kind of think about this as like if there's other questions later too. Not specific to neck adjustments, but I'm sure this would be one of the things that you'd want to look at.
yeah, of course.
It just basically says I have a shitty electric beginner pack.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of money now, so what's the easiest way to make the guitar play and sound better? So if there's things like just for the neck adjustment or something, but then we can think about that more for anything
Yeah,
else. Later.
with those, it's the same for any guitar. Just having it properly set up, all the action adjusted where it should be. Pickup height is a huge thing, which we can talk about. Sometimes adjusting your pickups will make the guitar sound like 1,000 times better. Just making sure all the hardware is tightened down, keeping it clean, all that good stuff. All that kind of factors into the playability of it. But yeah, having the neck set properly, the action set comfortably where you like it, good pickup height. That's really all you can do with the lower end guitars. If you're still not happy with it, there is some fairly affordable pickups out there. You can try swapping those out. That's a great way to immediately change the tone of your guitar. But yeah, try giving it a good setup. That's usually the best way to go about it. So
Yeah, and if any of you students like around here, right? Jason is around. But let me know at least if something is going on. It's always so sad when someone comes in with a guitar they can barely play. Like,
yeah, setups are something that's not talked about enough. I've seen people like hate guitar because they have a guitar that just doesn't play good, and it's like, it's not you. It's when your guitar is not set up properly, you cannot play it to the best of your ability, and like you end up just hating the instrument. So
I have to have that talk every once in a while with like parents of beginner students, because they want it. They don't know if they're gonna stick with it and stuff, so they want like a cheaper guitar.
Yeah,
like, there's a threshold.
When I worked at a big local music shop, we'll leave it at that. A big local music shop. I had the same issue. Mom comes in with the kid, wants to learn guitar, then they buy the the no-name Walmart starter pack, and it's just like the worst guitar. And I'm like, because they're like, well, I don't understand the difference. Why more expensive guitars are better? And it's like everything is the difference. Everything is. It's just. But you're right. There's a certain threshold where it's like you can go too cheap on a guitar. I'd say like anything under 200 is not worth it. You can get
it's like a used sort of crazy deal sort of thing.
Yeah, if you can get something used that's a little bit higher end, I'm a huge fan of used gear. So, Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
no, that's good. Adam was just you don't work for a shop. You're just do this all. You're completely on your own, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just on my own. I used to work at a big local music store, but they decided to. Oh, I'm not gonna tell the story, but it just wasn't a good situation.
Sure.
I love setting up guitars. I've been a musician pretty much my whole life. I love everything about guitar. So, yeah, I don't actually have a quote unquote building business that I operate out of, but,
Yeah.
I'm just such a firm believer in like having your guitar set up properly, and like people just don't know.
Mhm.
It's really not talked about a lot.
True.
I get so many questions like, yeah, my guitar just, it just sounds like crap all of a sudden, or it just doesn't play right, and they just don't know, and like
Mhm.
I'm all about educating people and, giving people a good price too. So that I don't feel the need to charge as much as big music stores do. So this is just a fun thing I do to help people out, and
Yeah.
it's a passion. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm a terrible promoter, but on that ticker that's up in the top corner, there are some extra links for for Jason up there. It's got his studio up there, and then I think he put his band up there. I'll be putting all the links and stuff for him, but if anyone wants his info, you can always just message me or
Yeah,
put you in touch.
you guys can hit me up on Facebook too. Just look up Jason Andropolis. It's Andropolis. Feel free to shoot me a message. Like I'm not gonna, not gonna ignore you or anything like that. I love connecting with people and just building a big network. Yeah, and the links that Zack posted. One is for my Instagram. That's I'm an audio engineer mostly, so that's for my studio and just some various projects I'm working on. So that's another thing I do. I love recording. Then the main band that I play in called Lumiel. You can check us out, lumielmusic.com. It's like instrumental post rock, so it's good stuff. It's very nerdy music.
Nerdy music is the
But
best.
we are, shameless plug, we are looking for a singer. We're not going to be instrumental anymore, so
I gotcha.
if anybody's interested, check out the link.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah,
Cool.
sorry. Shameless self-promotion there.
Oh, that's good.
Had to get it out. But, yeah, feel free to contact me, guys. Like, it's all good. I love talking about guitar. That's my life, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, any other questions before we move on to adjusting action? I think that'll be the next.
That'd be good. Just move on.
Yeah, just chime in if anybody has any info. So,
Oh, there was a
Oh,
question.
yeah.
This goes along with it. Is this the order that you would do like if you did a full setup? Is that the order that you normally would work in? Starting with the truss rod.
Yeah, I would start with the truss rod because you can adjust your action, and then when you adjust the truss rod, you're gonna have to readjust the action because they kind of go hand in hand. So I like to get the neck set where I want it, and then I will go ahead and adjust my action. And you'll probably need to kind of go back and forth for certain things, but after a while, you kind of just get a flow. I do not have a whole routine though that I do. Like sometimes the guitar is just so dirty, I have to spend like a whole day just cleaning it.
Sure.
So that kind of screws up the routine. But yeah, usually I'll just kind of clean the basic stuff, clean the fretboard, clean the frets, tighten down any hardware that I can, clean the electronics. I get all the cleaning stuff out of the way. Put the new strings on, tune it to pitch, adjust the truss rod, adjust the action, check intonation, do the pickup height last, and then I let it sit for a day, and then I'll go back and check everything out. If it's cool, call the client. If not, then I will adjust it. So, yeah, I don't really have a routine. So, okay.